that the only thing on? I mean, who cares what these guys have to say? You seen one politician, you seen them all.
I was just flipping channels and it just came up. It's on a new network, WSOM.
Well, I don't, W-A-N-T, want to watch another politician's debate. So let's change the channel.
Hold it a minute. After all, this is a democracy. No thanks to attitudes like yours. And maybe the majority wants to check out this debate for a few minutes.
Well, I can tell you exactly what they're going to say. I'm sure they all got their favorite lines, and they're talking about, oh, and actually we can watch something a little more enlightening like, who wants to be a millionaire? That's the American way. Now they're asking about welfare reform, and this is their usual line. He says, we need to help the helpless, and befriend the friendless, and defeat the feetless.
Wow, that was right on, Derek. It was pretty impressive.
Lucky guess. How about this guy? What's he going to say? That reporter's asking him about foreign policy.
Okay, so she's asking him about Russia. This is too easy, because he always talks about his war record.
There he goes again.
And as a countryman who risked his life, I would never risk the lives of my countrymen.
And what about your country women?
Well, you see, you got your city women, and you got your country women.
And you've got your angry women. I guess you're right. They really don't have anything new to say. You'd think with the new century and everything, somebody would come up with a new thought or two.
Well, somebody better. This same old isn't going to work anymore.
Yeah, but $1 million would help, so let's change the channel.
Wait.
What's wrong with your set, man? I mean, you can't miss Regis.
I don't know. It's never done this before. It might be the new network.
Wait, look. There's something coming in. It's like a third candidate's getting ready to give a speech.
Oh, great. Another one just like the others. Regis! Go, Regis! Go, Regis! Get busy. It's your birthday.
I don't know. The remote must be broken. I can't change it.
Can you guys keep it down? I'm trying to hear what this guy is saying.
Well, I can tell you exactly what he's going to say. Like, what should you do if someone were to strike you or steal something from you or say something insulting? Now, obviously, he's talking about crime, and the usual line here is, we need to crack down on crime and make sure the criminals get the punishment they deserve.
If someone takes your coat, give your shirt as well. You have been told to take an eye for an eye, but I am telling you it's better to forgive people.
Well, looks like you're losing your edge there, Derek. He kind of threw you for a loop, didn't he?
Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven.
Which party does this guy come from?
Which planet does this guy come from?
I am Rachel Gross, coordinator of the Death Row Support Project. This year has been an exciting one for those working against the death penalty in the U.S. Illinois Governor Ryan's imposition of a moratorium on the use of the death penalty is just one example of a courageous step which has encouraged others to question capital punishment. 35 years ago, the use of the death penalty was fading away in this country. Unfortunately, in the last several years, it has regained popularity as people listen to the voices of politicians. The Church of the Brethren, however, has continued to listen to the voice of Jesus and has maintained its clear stand against the death penalty. One of the ways it has fleshed this out is through the Death Row Support Project. This project invites people to write to individuals on death row. Since the project began in 1978, thousands have said yes to this invitation, providing friendship to those on death row and becoming more educated about the realities of the death penalty. A year after the project began, I received the following letter from a man named Doyle Boulware. Dear Ms. Gross, I am a prisoner on death row in the state of Texas and wish to thank you and your organization for the work you are doing. My name was given to Mrs. Betty Ann Porter of Quinter, Kansas, a few months ago. Since that time, I have been corresponding with her and her family on a regular basis and have had few things in my life which have given me more pleasure. It is most gratifying to realize there are people who will offer a helping hand to those whose society has condemned, while knowing we have violated those standards they hold sacred. To me, this is truly love for your fellow man. Then in 1981, Dale and Ruth Ackerman began writing to Ronnie Duncans, a mentally retarded man on death row in Alabama. Ronnie asked Dale to be his spiritual advisor, and eventually that led to Dale witnessing Ronnie's execution. The state of Alabama had to electrocute Ronnie twice before he was dead. This experience prompted Dale to write an opinion editorial, which was published in the Washington Post. Ruth was moved to create a work of art, which was featured on the March Messenger cover this year. Through their friendship with Ronnie, the Ackermans also learned to know several others on death row in Alabama. When Dale was suffering from cancer, which was for him a kind of death sentence, he especially appreciated the encouraging notes that he received from many on death row in Alabama. In 1986, my husband Bob began visiting Herb Underwood on death row in our state of Indiana. Herb is no longer on death row but still in prison, and our family continues to visit him. During Herb's time in prison, he has become a deeply committed Christian. On our most recent visit, another visitor in the visiting room asked Herb if Bob and I were the ones who brought him to the Lord. Herb replied, "They are the ones who kept me feeling human until I was ready to become a Christian." Herb's response lifts up the importance of Jesus' words to us in Matthew 25. By feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, visiting or writing those in prison, we help them to feel human so that they are ready to receive the message of Christ's gospel. My thanks to the Church of the Brethren General Board for supporting this important witness.
Hey, look! Mom bought some lemons today.
Oh, great. I needed these.
Hey, wait! Where are you going with my lemons?
Your lemons? What do you mean your lemons? I asked Mom this morning to buy me 3 lemons. There are only 3 lemons here, so they must be mine.
But I told Mom yesterday I needed 3 lemons to bake a lemon cake for my cooking project, so they must be mine.
I don't think so. Check the refrigerator, see if there are more.
No, there aren't any in there. So give me back my lemons.
What are you talking about, your lemons? They're my lemons. I need them for my lemonade stand.
Come on, Aaron, give those back. Come on, Aaron!
Wait a minute. Remember when we went to that peace retreat and they taught us there are always ways to resolve conflicts?
Yeah, conflict happens all the time, but it's up to us to decide how to deal with it.
Yeah, let's try it out.
Okay, so what do you think Jesus would do in this situation?
Well, he'd probably encourage me to let you know that I really only need the lemon juice for my lemonade.
And I really only need the lemon peel for my cake.
Jesus would teach us to communicate. Piecing it together has everything to do with communication, even when your mother only buys 3 lemons. The Honors Peace Assembly offers workshops to youth as well as junior high students. My friend Anna Grady attended one of those workshops in Indiana. I'm Erin McCourt, and last February, the Honors Peace Assembly traveled to California and gave 2 retreats at the Modesto and Laverne Churches of the Brethren. Those retreats were called Peacemaking for a 21st Century. We were all able to come together and learn to be peacemakers in our everyday lives. We used skits, scriptures, and writings from many Brethren peacemakers. One of the highlights of the trip was when a World War II service worker came and shared with us his experiences as a conscientious objector.
Who do you think he's with?
The guy's a clown. He's with the circus.
Can you just lighten up for a minute? You're so cynical about anybody in leadership that if Mahatma Gandhi was giving a talk, you'd think he was trying to sell wire-rimmed glasses.
Wait a minute, I don't want to sound like Derek here, but, well, it seems like all our leaders want to prove how strong they are by spending billions on the military.
Well, 10 million American families go hungry.
And the rest of them spend all their time either fundraising or marking out their own turf, so they have no time to be real leaders at all.
Well, I don't want to be cynical. I just want somebody to give me something to believe in and then show me with their life that they believe in it too.
You know, Derek, this could be your guy. So far, anyway, he's not talking like a regular candidate.
No, he sounds more like a TV preacher.
So why isn't he asking for money?
Wait, now he's saying something about different ways to use your money?
Oh, look, he's holding up a pretty flower. And I bet with a contribution, you too can have your own plastic pretty flower just like that one.
Don't be worried about your body and about what you should wear, or food and what you should eat. Look at the lilies of the field, how they neither spin nor toil, yet God takes care of them. How much more will God take care of you?
I'm Sandy Bosserman. Sometimes the words deacon ministry evoke images of preparing for love feast and visiting people who are sick. Deacons are called to be about the ministry of service. For the denomination, deacon service and ministry are supported through the denominational deacon ministry, a ministry of the Association of Brethren Caregivers. The Peace Valley congregation calls their deacons caregivers. There is no better word to describe how the deacons at Peace Valley, Missouri responded when 16-year-old Cassie Rower died in April of 1999. As pastor of the Peace Valley Church during this time, I was moved by the actions of these caregivers or deacons.
Cassie Rohr had an active, normal childhood, spending her elementary school years in northern Ohio, enjoying summer camp and Inspiration Hills. She always had been a bit small for her age and had a low energy level, but managed to attend church and Sunday school. When Cassie was 14, after her family moved to Peace Valley, Missouri, doctors determined she had ITP, an autoimmune disease which destroys blood platelets. Yet she remained a part of her church's youth group, helping with the Christmas pageant, and spent hours riding and caring for her horses, which were her first love.
Up until the last couple of months, you know, her life was pretty normal. A lot of people didn't know anything was even wrong with her.
Normal, maybe, but still very stressful for her parents, who regularly drove her over 100 miles to a hospital for a complicated 8-hour blood infusion process. Yet it was a struggle which was shared by their congregation.
We knew that they loved us. We just didn't know to the degree, you know, just in everything, you know, the support and encouragement and whatever we needed, you know, they were there to help.
It was 2 years of ongoing, you know, week by week things, you know, and just seemed like most Sundays, you know, we had, you know, during our joys and concerns, you know, there's, you know, well, you know, it's a joy or it's a concern, and never really got the feeling that they were tired of hearing about it.
Members of the congregation took care of Cassie's brother Doyle during the long trips to the hospital. They held an anointing service for her, acknowledged her disappointment when she had to miss National Youth Conference. And during a long hospital stay, the church's youth group made a video of Cassie's horses to encourage her.
Somebody was always asking, you know, how's she doing? How are we doing? You know, how's Doyle doing? You know, is there anything, you know, we can do to help?
When Cassie died in April of last year, the Peace Valley congregation shared in the family's tremendous loss. The deacons suggested they make Cassie's casket as a final tribute to her.
A sense of joy, you know, that they would want to...
That they loved Cassie that much.
You know, that they'd want to do that.
The deacons went to work almost immediately at the wood shop of Fed and Ellen Brotherton, a deacon caregiving couple of the congregation, preparing a casket made of native cedar, which is what Cassie's family requested. Ellen worked on the lining of the casket, and the Brotherton home became a kind of hospitality house, where members of the community gathered to work and to share memories of Cassie.
We'd built one coffin previously, and to me it was kind of a healing moment, not only for myself, but it just felt good working around the other men in the church and knowing that we were all grieving, and it makes a statement that says, you know, we care, we were hurting with you, and we care.
It was love that we showed that for the family and for Cass. This is what every man out there in their heart felt, the love for the family. And this is why we did it.
Cassie had died at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. As her parents traveled home, the deacons and others from the community helped with the project.
I think just the hours and hours of labor, you know, of cutting out all of that and putting it together, and, you know, they had a short period of time to do it, and...
Yeah, you know, working from scratch with no notice, you know, they there was a lot of time and love went into that, because it was beautiful.
During her illness, Cassie and her family were surrounded and supported by the deacons and the rest of the congregation at Peace Valley. Her family continues to feel that support since her death. One deacon attended a grief support group with Kathy. Since Cassie's death, the deacons built another casket, this time for a 96-year-old former minister in their congregation, Alpha Phi. It's their way of showing how important caregiving is in times of grief, whether the person who dies is 96 or just 16.
My name is Tim Rohr, and I'm blessed to be Cassie's dad. During the years of Cassie's illness and death, my family felt the love and support of the caregivers and members of the Peace Valley Church of the Brethren. The caregivers of our church were present with us all along the way with many expressions of love. They provided needed financial assistance, listened, prayed, and encouraged us. My family and I appreciate how our church family allowed God to use them to minister to us through this storm in our life. May our lives be a reflection of God's love that will reach out to all hurting people.
This is the day that God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I'm Lydia Walker, staff for Emergency Response Service Ministries. This month, Disaster Childcare is observing its 20th anniversary of a ministry of the General Board. 20 years of experience clearly demonstrate that children do benefit from a calm environment and emotional support in the aftermath of traumatic events. Disaster childcare volunteers have earned a reputation for high standards of childcare, flexibility, spiritual strength, and total dedication to the children's well-being. 1980. This was the day for a bold step into the future. In faith, the Brethren Disaster Response Program developed a training curriculum for volunteers to care for young children after disasters. 18 volunteers were trained in the very first disaster child care workshop. The first kit of comfort was constructed, containing materials and play equipment for a temporary child care center.
I am Karen Doubt. I was one of those who began to observe young children in the aftermath of disasters. I witnessed firsthand the lack of attention to children's needs and the failure to recognize that they also had rights following traumatic events. Perhaps their small size was equated with inability to understand or feel what had happened to them. Or perhaps adults brushed them aside in their attempts to piece their own world together again. I felt compelled to help initiate a response program just for young children. A few weeks after the first group of volunteers was trained, tornadoes ripped through Kalamazoo, Michigan, leaving many families in temporary shelters. Is this the day? Asked the newly trained disaster child care volunteers. Yes, this is the day. The volunteers said yes to the call and cared for a group of young children in Kalamazoo. Faith in action.
Tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes with names: Hugo, Andrew, Marilyn, Floyd. 1999 became the worst disaster year in North Carolina history. Hundreds of homes were made uninhabitable. Thousands of jobs were lost in slowly rising floodwaters after the pounding winds and rains of Hurricane Floyd. What can one person do? Is this the day? Cheryl Faust reads from a letter written by Fran Holcomb, one of the disaster child care volunteers who traveled to North Carolina.
Rain continued to pour down every day, and the rivers were still rising. We, the child caregivers, were nervous and afraid for our own safety. A 3-year-old little girl, playing happily by herself, suddenly lifted her clear little voice and sang out loudly, this is the day that the Lord hath made." An audience of American Red Cross workers crowded the hallway to see who was singing. I did not see one dry eye. These little children give back so much. The children strengthen my faith and teach me to trust.
The Disaster Child Care Ministry has raised the awareness of social service agencies and inspired other church denominations and relief agencies to participate with and to learn from the Brethren Ministry to Children in Disasters. In 1992, the Christian Reformed World Relief Committee in Canada began a training program based on the Disaster Child Care curriculum. In 1994, training programs were conducted in the far corners of the United States and her territories, including Puerto Rico and Alaska. In 1997, the American Red Cross and National Transportation Safety Board selected Disaster Child Care as its provider of child care services after airplane disasters. In the year 2000, requests for international training are being considered. Disaster Child Care is truly a ministry of Church of the Brethren congregations. Congregations sponsor training workshops, raise funds for the Emergency Disaster Fund, lend emotional support, and pray for disaster child care volunteers. For these 20 years, our thanks to you for enabling this ministry of the General Board to move into the heart of disaster to serve God's children.
And if someone wrongs you, go to that person and attempt to work it out. Forgive others as you have been forgiven.
I'm having a little trouble believing my ears here. I mean, he's saying we need to take responsibility for our disagreements and to get along with each other instead of trying to get even. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe that somebody can say this on TV.
What do you mean? He can't talk about loving people who hate you when every day on TV people get put down, beat up, shot in front of our very eyes and left for dead. And that's just the cartoons.
Well, I'm a little surprised too. Not that they're letting him say it, but that somebody would actually have the courage to say something like that. I mean, can you imagine if people took him seriously?
Yeah, who wants to watch cartoons that aren't violent?
No, really. I mean, it'd be such a radical thing. I mean, you were talking about Gandhi. Well, I mean, people who live like that can change whole societies.
Now, I know this is going to sound a little like you, but now I'm the one with some cynicism. I mean, look what we've done in this past century alone. 145 million killed in war.
Yeah, and we practically had a war in our congregation over where to put the peace pole.
For real?
Yeah, to plant or not to plant, that was the big question.
See, what difference is it going to make for this guy anyway? Even if he gets others to follow him, to say these things.
Yeah, but without somebody to show us that there's a better way, how will we get from where we are to where we want to be?
Greetings. I'm Tara Hornbacker, Assistant Professor of Ministry Formation at Bethany Theological Seminary. The faces at Bethany Seminary have constantly changed over the years, and over our nearly century of existence, we've called 4 different locations homes, and the educational programs have changed over the years, but we still continue and will always affirm and nurture the call of our students to ministry. Now, some of you pastors here came directly to Bethany, right from your college experience. Went right on for 3 years and got your MDiv degree. Well, some of you took a little bit longer, but I'm not going to name names. You know who you are. But nowadays, since that was the typical experience, we have a different experience at Bethany. Let me introduce you to some of our students, and I think you'll see what I mean. This is Pam Princell, and Pam is serving in Mexico, Indiana. She's involved with the TRIM program.
Hi, everyone. My ministry as youth pastor in an exciting congregation has been greatly enhanced by the training and ministry program. Although I'm not from south of the border of Mexico, In this program, I've had the opportunity to work alongside those of different spiritual and theological backgrounds. I'd recommend this to any of us, as it helps us to think about what it is that makes us brethren in the first place. And my trainers and mentors have not only been challenging, but also fun and well worth my time and my money. On-site quality ministry training for anyone who wants it. That's the TRIM program. Gracias, Senora Hornbacher, and thank you, Bethany.
Now I'd like you to meet a student from another distant land. Well, distant from Richmond. This is Terry Smith, and he's the pastor at the Free Spring Church of the Brethren in Southern Pennsylvania District.
How does a high school teacher who has a family and who has felt the call to pastor a congregation find the ministry training that he feels he needs? Bethany Seminary has met me where I am through the Susquehanna Valley Satellite Campus. For the past 5 years, I have been a part-time pastor, a full-time administrator or teacher, and a more than full-time husband and father, while taking courses that have been both flexible enough and complete enough to meet my ministry training needs. It may be a satellite, but it's firmly grounded in the Bethany experience.
Thank you, Terry. And now, for a little bit of an unusual twist on the traditional ministry model, if you will, I want you to meet Liz and Greg Bidgood-Enders, who have been resident Bethany students for the past 3 years, where they recently completed their ministry studies. Well, what's next, Liz and Greg?
We're beginning a teen ministry at the Mac Memorial Church of the Brethren in Southern Ohio District.
Oh, sounds like you work well together.
Actually, Bethany really helped us each know our strengths and interests. Because of that, we feel like we know who our identities are as people of ministry much better.
And we have been able to take classes together while integrating our own gifts for ministry into a larger vision of team ministry.
And everything from classes to projects to field education has helped us to do that, and it's given us support for the direction that we're taking. We're looking forward to applying our Bethany education to our new ministry setting.
Oh, and it looks like Mac Memorial will be doubly blessed. Now I'd like for you to meet yet another student, and this student is Patrick Bugu. Patrick comes to us from Ecclesia Yanuwa, Nigeria. I think it says a lot about the Bethany experience that he'd come all that way to join us.
I do thank God for the privilege given to me to study at Bethany, and especially for the prayers and concerns of many of you during my 4 years struggling to obtain a visa. At last, I am at Bethany, enjoying my studies and fellowship of American brethren. Bethany is a wonderful place to study. I am highly impressed with the community and especially the teaching staff who each took time to help me fit into the study system here. I look forward to seeing more Nigerian students at Bethany and more Bethany brethren workers in Nigeria. Again, thank you very much for your support, concerns, and Christian love.
Lafayette, thank you, Patrick. And we are glad that Patrick is a part of our Bethany community as well. Brian Messler is another part of our Bethany community. And Brian clearly exemplifies one of the greatest traditions in the Church of the Brethren, getting the most for your money. See, Brian expects to receive not 1, but 2 degrees at the end of his seminary sojourn.
That's right, Tara. Although I'm currently enrolled at Bethany Seminary as a Master in Divinity student, I hope to also complete a Master of Arts in Theology degree. See, I feel that the Master of Divinity degree will allow me to become a more effective pastor, and that the Master of Arts in Theology degree will allow me to hone my Christian writing abilities and also to look deeper into a more specific field of study.
Oh, Brian, I think your Bethany experience is going to prepare you well for the future. What an experience. And speaking of experience, our next interviewee came to Bethany with quite a lot of life experience already, but she came expecting a new adventure.
Good afternoon. My name is Jan Fairchild, and I thank God for the call to study at Bethany. I retired from a rewarding 25-year career as a speech pathologist. Bethany welcomed me warmly, and the curriculum and scheduling was friendly to a second career commuting student. I completed my Master's of Divinity, and I am pleased to begin very soon my first pastorate at the Springfield congregation in the Oregon-Washington district.
Okay, now we have had a commuting second career student, we've had a satellite student, a trim student, team ministry, a double duty student, and now I want you to meet Amy Messler.
Hi, I'm Amy Messler, and I'm from the Providence congregation in the Atlantic Northeast District. And I came to Bethany right after graduating from Bridgewater College in 1998.
Wait a minute, right after college. Came to Bethany right after college. You see, we still got one.
Tara, my education has been going non-stop, from high school to college and now Bethany. Going from one graduation to the next, I can't wait for my last days in the classroom. No more tests and no more school. But no matter how many times I graduate, I will really never leave the classroom because God is our teacher and the Bible is our text. Our challenge is to never stop learning about God's grace and Christ's love.
Thank you. Now, there you have it, folks. Not even the ordinary student is ordinary. But Bethany is not a cookie-cutter seminary. You see, our group of students have come to us with a wide range of gifts for ministry, and we are committed to helping each one serve the church to its fullest potential. So, send us your people directly out of college or long out of school. East of the Atlantic, west of the Mississippi, south of the border, or north of the heartland, women, men, one of each. Together, we will train the future leadership of our beloved denomination.
As you know, this committee has been asked by the congregation to bring a recommendation about which hymnal we should buy with Mabel's memorial money. This is not going to be easy. There's so much potential for conflict. But I got the idea that we might get some help from the Ministry of Reconciliation. I read the other day that they are putting together a network of trainers, facilitators, and mediators known as MOR practitioners, who, among other things, are prepared to help with conflict, potential or real conflict management. So I've called an MOR practitioner to meet with us tonight. Maybe he will be able to help our congregation get through this hymnal decision without a lot of hard feelings. But I have no idea what we are in for.
Well, quite honestly, I think we're all in the same boat. Well, not to speak for you, Jan, I've never even called an MOR practitioner. I've never even seen an MOR practitioner.
Well, I'm with you, but you know, the MOR practitioner may turn out to be some kind of superhero or something.
Yeah, that's just what our church needs. Some pumped up hero with a sword running around trying to vanquish all our disagreements.
He'd cut right to the quick of all the problems, right? Just cut them up in tiny little pieces for everyone to see. I'm not sure I want some guy exposing all our problems that way. We might end up with so much division in the church, no one will even remember their addition tables anymore.
Okay, so maybe not a superhero, but it sure would be nice to have some kind of a magician come in and make all this tension disappear. Don't you think?
I can see it now. While he's here, he'll just wave his wand and everything will look all fine and dandy. And then, poof, as soon as he leaves, the conflict will be right back again and as big as ever. Bigger, probably, for not having spoken about it in the meantime.
Well, don't magicians use sleight of hand and optical illusions? You know, it all sounds a little dishonest to me.
Right. The church would surely have a lark with that one.
Well, I still think that what the church needs is someone with knowledge. Our congregation is not going to accept just anyone to help us through this mess. I mean, a lot of this stuff gets personal. It would be nice to have someone just come in with a
plan.
So you want us to just follow somebody else's plan?
Well, it would make it simpler, wouldn't it?
Well, simpler in what sense? What I'm saying is, just because somebody comes in with a plan, knows a lot about conflict and disagreements, doesn't mean the plan's gonna fit us or that they'll stick around with us.
So where does that leave us? Here we are, waiting for the MOR practitioner to arrive, and we have no idea what they will be like or how they could possibly be able to help the congregation.
Well, it looks like somebody's here.
Hi, my name is Bob Gross.
I'm Tom.
Hi. Here in response to your request for assistance from the Ministry of Reconciliation. And I think maybe there are two main things we could do in this first meeting. One is that I'd like to get to know your congregation a little more and to know the things you're facing right now. But I would guess you might like to get to know me a little bit and to know how the Ministry of Reconciliation works. Well, just briefly, there are three things that are important principles for us. The first one is that everything we do is based in a Christian faith context and is a part of working within God's Spirit. Now, another is that we don't really believe that conflict itself is wrong or is bad or is sinful, but that it is very important how we deal with our differences. And a third would be that we don't come with all the answers. We don't come trying to fix it for you, but we do have the experience and the gifts to be able to help you work out the things you need to decide.
Well, I'm glad you're a real person.
And I believe you could help us.
I'm glad we called you, Bob.
It's good to be here.
No one can serve two masters. You cannot serve God and money. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
I don't know. He keeps talking about money. I'm waiting for him to make his pitch.
He doesn't seem to be after our money. He's just saying that putting too much of an emphasis on accumulating money is a problem, and that for people with a higher calling, money just isn't that important.
Wait a minute, let me get this straight. If this is true, then I must be a saint, because I'm looking around, I'm checking my pockets, and I don't have a dime. And all this time I thought that was a problem, but apparently I've just been operating on a higher moral plane.
Yeah, a higher moral plane than the rest of us who actually have jobs.
Hey, you two. Money can be a problem either way, either having too much or not having enough. The real challenge is for everybody to have what they need to lead a decent life, and for us to share what we have with each other out of care and support. And from what I can tell, that's just what this guy is calling for.
Hello, friends. I'm Teresa Eschbach, Executive Director of Institutional Advancement at Bethany. It was wonderful to meet with many of you this past year at Bethany focus groups. As I listened to your hopes, your concerns, your dreams for the seminary, its students, and the church, the whole church, I was reminded of other visionary leaders. You reminded me that regardless of your age, in every generation, people really care about the church, and they have visions for that church. But the challenge is that young and old can come together, share their visions, come to a common goal, and then move out together to meet that goal. Well, you and Bethany have embraced such a challenge, and it is truly exciting. This fall, one of our common dreams, the Institute for Ministry with Youth and Young Adults, will become a reality. The new director has been called, the facilities are ready, and eager students are waiting to take that first class next spring. I'd like you to hear from two of those students now.
I'm hoping that it will help broaden my horizon a little more as far as how to work with the kids and the young adults, how to relate to them with Bible studies and how to help them grow deeper, and then also to help to bridge that gap between when they graduate high school into college and when they come back from college and they're like, now where do I fit in?
What we're missing in youth ministry right now is
effective ways to take kids deeper in their spiritual journey, and effective ways of allowing kids to experience God, to experience His grace, to experience His love, just experience His holiness. And so I'm hoping that the Institute will give us ways to help this whole thing of the kids being able to grow spiritually deeper in their faith. There's just not that many seminaries that offer training for youth ministry. So I'm excited that the Church of the Brethren is wanting to take youth ministry seriously and provide training for that.
Greetings. I'm Gene Roop, President of Bethany Theological Seminary. I'm delighted to introduce to you Tim Van Meter. Tim has accepted our call to serve as the director for the Institute for Ministry with Youth and Young Adults and the newest member of the Bethany faculty. Tim's work with youth has included leadership in local congregations, leadership in Young Life, and leadership in the Youth Theological Initiative of Candler Seminary in Atlanta, Georgia. Tim, how do you see the mission of the Institute and the role it could play in the life of the church?
Thank you, Gene. First, I want to commend Bethany and the Church of the Brethren for their vision and commitment to this effort. Young people and those who minister with them are a rich resource for the church. The church and its traditions offer a solid foundation for exploring the life and faith questions of youth, young adults, and those who desire to walk with them. I'm looking forward to beginning this educational journey with Becky, John, and others who desire to engage the lives of young people in exploring the questions of faith.
Tim, we have the essential ingredients to launch this institute: faculty, facilities, funding, and as you can see, potential students. Thanks for your willingness to walk with us into this new educational venture toward an even more effective leadership in the life of the church.
My name is Angel Gullon. Thanks to the support and encouragement of the Chair of the Brethren and the Association of Brethren Caregivers, I am pursuing my dream of becoming a doctor of psychology, specializing in child development and family therapy. I grew up in a small town in the center of a beautiful island, blessed by God, Puerto Rico. Castañer is the name of my hometown. Both my lovely parents have been members of the Church of the Brethren since they were very young and continue to be active members of the church. I am thankful to them for being the foundation of my Christian faith. During my childhood, the Church of the Brethren was my social network where I developed part of my leadership skills. However, I didn't realize how much the Church of the Brethren has influenced in my life until I left Puerto Rico 2 years ago to study in the United States. I always wanted to study human behavior, especially how family influences child and adolescent development. God planted in my heart the desire to pursue my dream and goals. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology in Puerto Rico, but wanted to do my graduate studies in the United States. Through the Health Education and Research Endowment Fund of ABC, I received financial assistance, which was part of the economical foundation I needed to afford my graduate studies. Since 1959, hundreds of Church of the Brethren members preparing for career in health profession have received loan or scholarship from the Association of Brethren Caregivers to assist with the cost of their education. While I was working on my bachelor's degree, I recognized that my English skills were not sufficient to study in the United States. During that time, Philip Stone, president of Bridgewater College, allowed me to spend a semester to improve my English skill before I started graduate school in Wisconsin. I was looking for God's direction. Also, during that time, ABC executive director was visiting Puerto Rico. I encouraged me to apply to the Ministries Summer Service Program of the Church of the Brethren during the summer of 1998. In March of that time, I went to Bridgewater, where I lived with a beautiful and wonderful family that I learned to love as a parent, Dave and Grace Brightbill. God bless them. I lived in Bridgewater for 3 months to work on my English. Then I went to Bethany Seminary for a week of orientation in ministry summer service. Then I spent 2 wonderful months at the Moorfield Church of the Brethren in West Virginia, working in the Vacation Bible School and Sunday School as a teacher, in the junior high camp as a counselor, and attending National Youth Conference at Fort Collins as an advisor. I also had the opportunity of leading worship and telling children a story. These were experiences of growing spiritually and personally. It was an opportunity to reach one more level of my spiritual life, and as a maturation process, God answered prayers. I understood that my parents and I didn't have the financial resources to afford my graduate study in the United States. However, there was inside of me a feeling, a conviction that God will provide what I will need. The Association of Brother Caregivers helped me by providing financial assistance so I could pursue my goals academically, personally, and spiritually. At this moment, I am working at the University of Wisconsin-Madison to earn a master's degree in human development and family studies with great success. With the help of ABC Loan and a scholarship program and the encouragement of the Chair of the Brethren, I have been able to pursue my dream of working toward a PhD focusing on family therapy. My goal is to return to Puerto Rico to care for children and families. I left Puerto Rico without money, without English skill, and without family. But God provided for me all that I need: financial aid, capacity to learn, and a beautiful family that I consider as my family. I have experienced how faith can move mountains, and how, with a positive and persevering attitude and a humble heart, all things work for good.
Maybe our attitude about money is important, especially if we're willing to use what we have to help others as well as ourselves.
Well, you know, they always say charity begins at home, brother.
Cool it, you guys. They're running a short infomercial on new technology, and I want to hear what they're saying. Maybe they can help screen bugs like that I love you virus that did so much damage last spring.
Oh, the I love you virus. I get so many I love you messages from girls every day that I had trouble figuring out which one was the bogus one. I mean, I don't want to delete a real one and break some poor girl's heart.
Email romance, you E what you get.
Good afternoon. I'm Ray Donadio from the Brethren Benefit Trust Board. For those of you who were here last year, you will recall that under my power suit, I did wear my Mickey Mouse socks in order to illustrate that the Brethren Benefit Trust Board and the staff were not just a bunch of stiff-necked stuffed shirts. In an effort to conform this year, however, I did not wear the socks. I did, however, wear my Three Stooges tie. That is not in any way meant to depict the way we do business at BBT, but simply to add a bit of levity to today's presentation. If you're interested in the law firm that the Stooges represent, please stop at the booth after the session and see me, and I'll show it to you. Today I'm here, however, to tell you how we broadcast emails utilizing listservs and then use JavaScript to construct a website that provides encrypted e-commerce solutions on secure servers, all in about 3 minutes. Now, I wasn't speaking in tongues there or in a language from outer space, but those words come directly from the Brethren Benefit Trust and its newest ministry, E-Mountain Communications. At Brethren Benefit Trust, we made an exciting discovery on the way to Y2K. You'll all remember Y2K. That was that dreaded computer scare that disappeared faster than Church of the Brethren potluck lunch. Sorry, folks, I don't write this stuff, I just read it. Well, in the process of upgrading our systems to support our financial ministries, we did realize that the new equipment could also be used to provide internet services. We also knew that our members do witness to their faith in all aspects of their lives, including the internet. So we launched E-Mountain Communications in November of 1998. Our objective was to serve the church. Now, the problem for me, and probably for a lot of you, is that when the Internet Services Ministry was born, a new lingo emerged. And quite frankly, it has challenged us all. As you'll recall from last year, I stated to you that on the information superhighway, I am roadkill. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. And that's why I've asked a few of our E-Mountain users to take a moment to shed some light on this subject. Can anyone out there tell us what a listserv is? And by the way, check out the illustration there. You got two stick guys with a couple of cans on a wire. Now that's cutting edge technology, isn't it? Okay, listserv. Is it a listing of all Church of the Brethren worship services? Or is it a database of all brethren who have served the church? Or is it a private electronic discussion forum for groups? Anyone?
I know that one. I'm Bob Blake from the Association of Brethren Caregivers. You know, ABC. We use eMountain Listserv software so that our ministry groups can talk online in closed discussions. In effect, it's like holding a continuous meeting, but online. We have people spread out all over the country, and now they can share information and brainstorm via the internet. This way, we can try to keep everyone up to date.
Okay, Bob, is that your final answer?
That's my final answer. Did I win the money?
Yeah, $1 million, Bob. Unfortunately, the payout is $1 a year for 1,000,000 years. Can anyone out there tell me what JavaScript means? Is it the written language of Indonesia? Is it slang for a TV commercial for Folgers with Juan Valdez? Or is it computer language for creating special effects on the web? Anyone?
I can help with that one. I'm Terry Smalley from Gardner, Kansas. I own a party supply business, and my website is listed on eMountain.
Wait a minute, Terry. Let me just get this straight. You're a Church of the Brethren lady, and you run a party supply business?
That's correct.
Whoa. The word party must mean a lot different thing than it did when I was in college. Anyway, go ahead, Terry. Tell us your website address.
My website is www.inaboxparties.com. Right now, it's a very basic site, but I'm told that JavaScript is a programming language that can create buttons that change colors when you roll over them. It is also used to create pull-down menus. When I'm ready, eMountain can use JavaScript to add more bells and whistles to my website.
Okay. Well, thank you, Terry. Let's go to our next question. Can anyone out there tell me what encrypted means? Is it a system of programming safeguards for online internet transactions? Or is it a synonym for entombed, like Dracula up there? Or is it a coding system for secret electronic note passing during the business sessions, much like you two guys are doing up here in the front row?
Hey, Ray, that's my subject.
And who the heck are you?
I'm Russ Madison, manager of marketing and sales for Brethren Press. It seems that everyone's into internet shopping these days, and Brethren customers are no different. That's why we've been working with eMountain Communications to develop BrethrenPress.com, which will be up later this fall, so the folks will have a place to go and shop online for Brethren Press and other Brethren-related products.
Yo, Russ, get to the point. I mean, what does e-commerce have to do with encrypted?
Okay, Ray. Simply put, we want to be able to conduct our business online and make sure that our customers' transactions are kept safe and confidential. Now, as I understand it, encrypted is the operative word that makes e-commerce security possible. The eMountain techies know all of the rest of the details.
Thank you, Russ. That decodes it for us. I don't know about all of you, but I think I've had about enough internet lingo for today. You know, just the other day I overheard some of our eMountain techies talking about webcasts and whiteboard drawing capabilities, and I still don't have the foggiest notion what in the world they're talking about. But if any of you understood what was said today, or maybe if you're intrigued by the possibilities, why don't you give a call to our eMountain techies back at Elgin, Illinois for more translations. Our telephone number is 1-800-250-5757. That's 1-800-250-5757. The call is free and operators are standing by. Or, if you prefer, why don't you stop by the BBT booth and we'll help you to get connected. As for me, I think I'd probably have just as much luck deciphering Dr. Seuss.
Well, Ray, you'll just have to keep working on Dr. Seuss. Hi, I'm Lester Bolin, and I'm here to invite you to celebrate a completed deciphering project. The Nuer people of southern Sudan can now read the Bible in their own language. This Bible is a testimony to the hard work of many people, and I hold it high today in gratitude to you for your support of the General Board that made the New Air Bible Translation Project possible.
Christians in southern Sudan don't have many opportunities to celebrate these days, but on this Sunday afternoon in January, their joy overflowed. All eyes were on these boxes containing the first complete version of the Bible in the New Air language, a project that had taken decades of work, the support of many church partners, and even overcome a near-tragic plane crash. In the midst of a seemingly endless civil war with the Muslim government in the north, the elements of life that most people take for granted are hard to find here: food, water, often shelter. The international community through the United Nations maintains a huge life-saving presence, but in reality it's the church that sustains the people of this land. The New Air Christians of southern Sudan have strong ties with the Presbyterian Church, which has been established here for almost 100 years, and with the Church of the Brethren, a supporting partner for some 20 years. Many Christians here say that given all the death, displacement, starvation, and war, faith in God is all they have left. But for all the growth of Christianity here, the New Air Christians have never had the whole Bible in their own language until now, thanks to a concentrated 10-year effort centered in Nairobi, Kenya. Much of the work was done by Tutwan Yo, a Sudanese Christian who became the lead translator, and by Church of the Brethren General Board staff Esther and Lester Boleyn. Lester served as translation coordinator, guiding the process. Esther edited and proofed various drafts and wrote beginning reader materials for New Heirs just learning to read. Done under the guidance of the United Bible Societies, the project was completed in about half the normal length of time. The tedious work of having drafts reviewed by New Air in Sudan was complicated by the war.
But we had a heart and we say, no, let us not give up, let us continue.
Every time we would go to Sudan, the people in Sudan would give us more encouragement because they were eager to have the Bible.
By the end of 1999, the completed Bibles were finally ready for distribution. However, to mark their arrival in southern Sudan, the Christian community wanted a celebration. So with several unopened boxes of the completed Bible already flown into southern Sudan, attention was focused on the small village of Mading, where the official celebration of the new Bible was to be marked. Sudanese church leaders, missionaries, the Boleyns, the family of Tutwan, and others all boarded a chartered plane for the 4-hour trip to Mading from Nairobi, a ride which ended in a cloud of dust as the plane skidded off the runway and overturned. Thankfully, the same divine guidance that had steered this project for more than a decade kept the plane from breaking up or catching fire or slamming into the dozens of people who had lined the opposite side of the runway from where the plane skidded. The villagers who had come to welcome their guests instead found themselves their rescuers, helping to free the passengers trapped inside the overturned plane. In typical Sudanese tradition, songs of joy burst forth once villagers realized that all the passengers had escaped with only minor cuts and bruises.
The people of the area, they connect these two miracles, receiving the Bible, which they have waiting for more than 20 years or 30 years. But today it happened.
The formal celebration took place the next day, amid lots of speeches and recognition of those who gave years of time and talent to the project.
The New Air people can read the Bible in their own language and have it in their hands and be able to learn it and preach from it. And they won't have to hear it from someone else or have to read it in English and try to figure out what it means. They will be able to read it in their language and know what it means.
Not long after the Bibles appeared in the hands of pastors and church leaders in Mading, crowds gathered around them, and Bible stories that had previously been read in a foreign language had finally the familiar ring of a native tongue. For Christians here, nothing could dampen the joy of this event. Not years of waiting, not an overturned plane. All eyes instead were on God's hand working among the Sudanese people.
I think they had a double celebration, and they had life, and they saw life in front of them, and not life taken away. And then here comes the Bible, which will give many of them new life in Christ. And I think it's just such a marvelous experience.
A Bible in one's own language, something many Christians around the world have long taken for granted, is crucial to the faith that sustains Christians in southern Sudan. They cling to their faith even when the rest of their world lies in tatters, assured by the gospel that although even heaven and earth may pass away, God's word will not pass away. The arrival of this new Bible marks the end of a translation project, but it's the beginning of a new era of faith among a people who depend mightily on God's word in the midst of uncertainty and trials.
As the Sudanese say, Allah Akbar, God is great. I am Merv Keeney, Director of Global Mission Partnerships for the General Board, and I invite you now to join in expressing appreciation to Esther and Lester Boleyn for their dedicated service over nearly 10 years to complete this project.
You know, one thing I've figured out is that I haven't figured this guy out. I mean, as soon as I think I know what spin he's going to give an issue, he goes completely the other way.
And what I like is that he doesn't seem to be spinning the issues at all. He's speaking from his heart and saying some things that are hard for people to hear, even if it's going to cost him votes.
Well, he's got my vote.
Well, before you go door to door, I think you better listen to this. It doesn't sound like your standard stump speech.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who are hungry now, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of God.
How can we live in a world and yet maintain the values of the Sermon on the Mount? One response I would like to say is seek first God's righteousness and the kingdom, and be not anxious. Trusting God is not simply folding our hands in our laps and expecting Him to drop a check in our midst. It is trusting Him in our budgets and our investment practices and the use of our property and what He has given us. And in a manner in which we earn our money, we need to submit to our Lord and to His kingdom.
Like other congregations, members of the Mount Vernon Church of the Brethren in Virginia see lots of needs around them. And like other congregations, they want to help. So when a $100,000 bequest came from the estate of longtime members Melvin and Ruby Evers in 1997, the congregation looked to Brethren Benefit Trust to help them make the best use of those funds. They invested the entire amount with the Brethren Foundation.
It performed extremely well. After about a little over 2 years, the $100,000 had increased by another $40,000, and so that's the $40,000 that we wanted to use for mission work.
Mission work was what the congregation had designated would be done with all the earnings from the Evers Endowment, and before long they were able to support projects like Habitat for Humanity, a weekday religious education program in the community, scholarships for kids to go to camp at Brethren Woods, Heifer Project International, and other relief and hunger projects. But the largest amount was earmarked for Hurricane Floyd victims.
The district was involved in disaster response down in Franklin, Virginia, and our congregation was very aware of what the district was doing, and we thought, well, this was an excellent opportunity to help out.
But instead of simply sending money, the congregation decided to take the money to Franklin themselves.
And the need there was to help with not just going down there and working, but also a need to replace
many of the appliances and things to that they need, hot water heaters, refrigerators, washer dryers.
And we met individual families. The directors down there just took us to the different families that had needs, and so we took those families then to the store, and they selected the appliances, and we paid for them.
By May of this year, Mount Vernon members had made 4 trips to Franklin to purchase more than $7,000 worth of appliances for disaster victims.
It's a lot, means a lot to me. It may seem small, but it's not that small. It's great to me. It's great. And man, I like to faint it there. It was a blessing, man. I started crying.
Dottie Harcum and her husband John received a stove from the Mount Vernon congregation.
Close friends and family were more than willing to do for us, but people that had no idea who we were, just knowing what had happened to us and the town, they just couldn't do enough for you. It's touched your heart. It really touched your heart.
During one of the visits, the group ran into the mayor of Franklin, who was moved to tears at the generosity of the congregation.
The flood was the easy part. It's when you see the goodness of people like you all, that's what makes me cry.
Well, we bought a washer and a dryer for one family, and a stove and a refrigerator for another family, and the total came to $1,776.46.
So it was a good day for
That was a
couple
good
families.
day. It was a good day for two families.
Good day fun.
Yes, it was.
And all of them are on sale.
Yeah.
We got good deals too. Got
Which
the
makes it
sale
even
price,
better day.
right?
Well, they came down $70 on that washer.
Right. See, we
No,
picked
take
another
so-
that was on it was on sale over there, and we just
was
hadn't
it
looked.
was
Yeah.
it another one?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're true brethren looking for the best deal.
Members of the Mount Vernon congregation feel they also got a good deal with the Brethren Foundation, seeing a 40% increase in their investment in only 2 years. They also know they can't count on that kind of return every time.
Well, we're hoping to always get this kind of investment, but no, we know we won't. But it really is unbelievable to think that in 2 years' time we could earn $40,000 off of $100,000 and be able to do all that we've done with it. Brethren Foundation really turned the tide in increasing these funds, and without that investment with Brethren Foundation, that have never turned out this well.
I'm Bob Johnson, pastor of Mount Vernon Church. And I'm really here to say how delighted we are of the fact that the extraordinary returns received on our investments. We know that it wouldn't always be like that, but we were willing to take the risk. I also want to say that Mount Vernon Church could not have done it alone if it wasn't for the fact that so many wonderful people in the church were willing to give of their money, especially the one of the families of the Evers that gave us $100,000, and as Grant said, it grew to almost $140,000 in such a short time. It took Grant, who was visionary, to lead us and to help our congregation to realize that we needed to make the change, and so we did. It took the investments of the foundation that we believed in, and they took it and they made it grow. And they did wise, and they were good stewards. And it took timing. We took the $100,000 and invested it in the BBT, and in just over 2 years, we gained over $40,000. I want to make something very clear to all of you. We're not here to get praise from you, to Mount Vernon Church. We are here to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ and to be good stewards of what He has given us. And He deserves the praise and the glory for what He has done for us. We took 5 talents and we made it grow, only because of the grace of God. It's a great feeling to help other people. When that lady said in that film, gee, you came from all this way and we didn't even know who you were, and you're Christians besides. You know, there's no greater way of proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ, not just with our mouth, but with our deeds. We have a small church with a big heart. So I encourage you to be good stewards of what God's given you also. And let us be in His service. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Noemi Espinosa. I'm an executive president of the Christian Commission for Development in Honduras. When Hurricane Mitch hit Central America in October 1998, it not only changed the courses of the rivers and destroyed entire towns, it also changed the history of Honduras. Today, we speak of the time before Mitch and the time after Mitch. Fidelina Lopez and her village felt this change very directly. She lives in a small community along the border with Nicaragua. When Mitch hit, she and her neighbors had to flee quickly, sometimes in the middle of the night, as the water rose and as their animals, their crops, their homes, their dreams were taken away in the flood. They felt like they lost everything, and you could see the despair in their eyes. Fidelina and her little son, Jose, were poor, like 10,000 of the other Hondurans, and it was the poor who were most affected by Mitch. They live on steep hillsides or even in riverbeds, and when the water came, they were washed away. But let me tell you something else about Fidelina and her village. As they swam to safety with their children on their back, no one person in their village died. CCD had worked with this community, and they had developed a sense of determination and self-confidence that helped them survive even the storm of the century. This is at the heart of our mission, to help people understand their own abilities, their own work, and their own dignity. You have supported us in this work for many years. When Mitch hit, you were quick to respond with emergency aid and a team of doctors. Since that time, you have sent rebuilding teams and supported economic development projects for women's groups. Those efforts changed the life of our people. But they changed you also. When people visit our poor country and our poor people, they are enriched and sometimes changed forever, because they do not only meet poor people, they meet people who have courage, who have faith, who have determination, and who will welcome you into their simple home and share what they have. We are in this together. We are equals, we are companions, we are the family of God. It is God who has brought us safe this far, and God who will lead us home hand by hand, sister and brother, south and north, into a new heaven, a new earth, where the shall live in peace and with justice for all. As for Fidelina, she is now part of the women's group in her community that has received a small livestock from the Church of Brethren. Just last month, I visited with her, and she had a different look of her eyes. Now she has the look of happiness, the hope, and confidence for a future. It is God who gave us the hope and strength for this journey, but we must walk it together. You are walking with us and with Fidelina. May God continue to give us the opportunity to walk together. Thank you.
So, are you with us?
Or maybe while we're out building a better world, you need to stick around and see if the sun is A, a star, B, a planet, C, a prop from Star Wars, or D, a really large helium balloon that got away.
Well, I do find those questions intriguing, but if this guy is for real, then I think there are some more important things out there than answering a question and getting $100. Maybe even $1 million. So, I'm with you. When do we start?
We'll start a real campaign. A campaign to change people's hearts, as well as their minds.
We can make posters and see if we can get friends to join.
You think anybody's gonna go for this? This guy and his fascinating but strange message?
Well, the way I see it, we don't really have much choice. Let's go.
Let us all please stand. Blessed are they, the poor in spirit, theirs is the kingdom of God. Blessed are they, full of sorrow, they shall be consoled. Rejoice and be glad. Blessed are you, holy are you. Rejoice and be glad. Yours is the kingdom of God.
Blessed are they, the lowly ones, they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst, they shall have their fill.
Rejoice and be glad. Blessed are you, holy are you. Rejoice and be glad. Yours is the kingdom of God.
Blessed are they who show mercy, mercy shall be theirs. Blessed are they, the pure of heart, they shall see God.
Rejoice and be glad. Blessed are you, holy are you. Rejoice and be glad. Yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are they who seek peace, they are the children of God. Blessed are they who suffer in faith, the glory of God is theirs.